What's going on, guys? And today we're going to be discussing some of the Five Nights at Freddy's 3 gameplay mechanics. Now, if you guys haven't already checked out the videos where I discuss where I think the game is going to take place and the storyline of the game and stuff like that, check the previous video, and then the one before that is the actual announcement of the game and stuff like that, and going over a few more things like with the teaser and stuff like that. So you should definitely check those videos out if you haven't already. But anyways, this is what you guys wanted me to read. The whole thing that he wrote, which, kind of goes over the game and some things with Five Nights at Freddy's 2 and just a bunch of stuff that you guys asked me to read. So I'm going to read the first part. I'm going to kind of skip over the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 criticism because that doesn't really have to do with Five Nights at Freddy's 3, obviously. But if you guys were wondering, why he did this, why he did that, you should definitely read that because he goes over why he did those things. But anyways, you guys asked for it, so here we go. Let's start the reading here. All right, so he says, Five Nights at Freddy's 3 official announcement. This game will be the final installment of the Five Nights at Freddy's series, and there won't be a hidden loophole that will allow me to swoop back and announce a new Five Nights at Freddy's, the pre-sequel, aftermath, bonus, spinoff. Obviously, he's making fun of, games that have like there's 5 games in the series or whatever, or he's going to go back and do this and do that. This is going to be the final game, guys. So, or anything like that. I won't make any novels, comics, or animated series, Five Nights at Freddy's World, etc. It ends here. Why is this the end? Because the story is complete. I have nothing more to add, and I won't be able to move on from Five Nights and I want to be able to move on from Five Nights at Freddy's fan content. Not because there isn't anything in it anymore, nor because Five Nights at Freddy's is dying, but because I personally feel like I've been here, done that, done some more, and now a finishing touch. So that's what he said about the beginning there. The rest just has to do with Five Nights at Freddy's 3. I'm going to read this bottom section right here where he says, but in Five Nights at Freddy's 3, I assure you that I can only make entirely new character models. They won't just be edited versions of older models, and they won't even borrow anything from previous models either. I'm also hoping to bring many more Easter egg / references to YouTubers in Five Nights at Freddy's 3, but no new YouTuber animatronics. I didn't make a new one for Markiplier, because that kind of goes over why I didn't make the Markiplier one. Even though there was an Easter egg in Five Nights at Freddy's 2 for Markiplier. If you just type in Mark while on any night, I think, he says some stuff, so you should definitely check that out. But yeah, so he says that he's thinking of making some YouTuber references. That'd be kind of cool, man. Hey, put one for me in there. I'm okay with that. So yeah, so first of all, we got some important things to go over right here. We're not really just that. This is the final game. There's going to be brand new models, so no reused ones, and there's going to be YouTuber Easter eggs in the game, which is also pretty cool. And then he also goes over why it took so long to make Five Nights at Freddy's 2. And then it says, I didn't want to put Five Nights at Freddy's 3 mechanics into Five Nights at Freddy's 2 because I felt that I wouldn't be able to fit all that content in the game. Sorry about that. I can't read sometimes. So now I'm making Five Nights at Freddy's 3, and I like it this way. Besides, a trilogy sounds way better to me than a duology, a twilology, what the heck, whatever the trilogy equivalent of 2 is. So, yeah, so he's saying that it's going to take 2 to 3 months to make this game. That's kind of what the rest of that said. Anyways, let's go into the more kind of exciting stuff here, and that's the Five Nights at Freddy's 3 gameplay. So he says, now that I've explained Five Nights at Freddy's 2 mechanics and why I chose them, which is the thing that I skipped over, like I said before, if you guys want to read that, click the article in the description. You guys can read over that. So he says, I'll explain the mechanics of Five Nights at Freddy's 3. At first, I kept the central mechanics of Five Nights at Freddy's a secret. Then I made a list of mechanics that would not be featured in Five Nights at Freddy's 2 to assure this was not going to be some blatant copy / reskin. This time, however, I'm going to just tell you what you do in the game and read the entire thing before criticizing, and remember what I said about loose connections between stolen mechanics. Monsters will appear in your bedroom. You have to shine the light in their eyes to make them go away. Sound familiar? I know, right? Well, here's one of the spins. These monsters are extremely persistent. They will sometimes appear in the middle of your room, out in the open, and attempt to dodge your light, and if you don't shine the light directly in their eyes enough, they are free to advance. There will also be a twist on this concept to keep the gameplay fresh. I came up with this flashlight mechanic back in September 2015 when I tried to come up with the mechanics for Five Nights at Freddy's 2, and I decided to save it for Five Nights at Freddy's 3. So already we got some pretty exciting stuff for there. The way they're going to attack us, as he said, they're going to kind of appear in front of us. You got to shine a light in their eyes. If you miss, they move closer. The closer they get, the more likely you're going to die unless you shine it in their eyes, which is super cool. So anyways, he says, wait, where is this? All right, I gotta catch up where I was before. And I decided to save it for Five Nights at Freddy's 3. And don't tell me that using a flashlight to ward off monsters is a ripoff of Five Nights at Freddy's 4, because that would be like saying that using cameras to keep an eye on the animatronics is ripping off Five Nights at Freddy's 1 through 3. These are fan games, after all. There's bound to be some similarity / repeated patterns. If it was just shining light on the monsters to make them run away, then you could call it a ripoff, but that's not how it works here. In Five Nights at Freddy's 2, I chose to use a flash of the camera of a phone, and some people still told me I ripped off Five Nights at Freddy's 2. And I bet if I made it a lantern instead, then I would have received the same criticism. Scott doesn't own light, you guys. He kind of added in at the end right there. He also said, I've also added a mechanic that you will have to tend to and strategically dedicate time to in order to have time to go by normally. Wait, so what is it? Okay, so he says he's added a mechanic that you will have to tend to and strategically dedicate time to in order to have the time go by normally. So there's something that's going to slow down time? Is that what I'm getting at here? Is that what he's getting at here? I think so. So that kind of reminds me of the marionette system here, where there's this thing that we've got to tend to. But he said it's going to slow down time. Not slow down time, but he says in order to have time go by normally. That sounds kind of strange. I want to know more about that. But also he says, or you could deal with the monsters for twice as long. Your choice. So yeah, this is actually something that's going to slow down time or something. Or I guess make the... I don't know. That sounds weird and crazy, but awesome at the same time. So let's see here. He also says, or you could deal with... Okay, we already read that. And no, it's not just keeping your hand on a button that will charge or wind up. Oh, so that's like the whole marionette thing out of the window. Something so it keeps functioning, and it's an automatic process. You just have to initiate it. And it won't incapacitate you either, like in Final Fantasy 3 with the reboots. Oh, that's the first thing that came to my mind, too, was the Final Fantasy 3 where the camera system went down, you had to reboot it. So he said it's not going to be like that, which is awesome because I hated waiting for that thing to come back online. It was very scary, but it was also very annoying. Anyway, he says things where you couldn't do anything while it rebooted. And by the way, another game came into the spotlight as well, a game called Boogeyman. Yeah, that was an amazing game, which basically had the same concept as I had just come up with the flashlight deal, and I knew this would not go unnoticed. So I was forced to change things a tiny bit. And personally, I think it's better this way. There's even a new way of how you are taught to play the game. There are no phone calls, nor any on-screen text that explains everything to you. Oh, what the heck? That sounds... Okay. If my game design turns out to be too obscure, then I will add text like in Five Nights at Candy's 2. There will be mini-games, of course, and I'm planning on having dialogue in them as well. With dialogue, I can pack much more story and personality into the characters and the game itself, so I'm definitely going to do that. Okay, so that's interesting already. He's going to have dialogue. As you guys know, in Five Nights at Candy's 2, there was no dialogue in the minigames, at least not from what I can remember. I mean, there was the stuff that said, you know, put me back together or whatever, or find all 4 pieces, but I don't know. From this, it sounds like they're going to be talking to each other, so there's going to be dialogue. All right, pretty cool. He says, the way I see it, the only things in Final Fantasy 3 that will be similar to Final Fantasy 4 is the scenery and the fact that there is a flashlight that you use to counter the monsters in the dark, and minigames with dialogue if you want to get picky. Yes, this game takes place in a bedroom. Yes, there's big monsters, and yes, it's a horrible nightmare. Oh, there it is right there. Oh, okay, so it is a horrible nightmare. Okay. But lastly, I must add that even the monsters are designed in a new way. They aren't just huge withered animatronics with big teeth and metal eyes with ridges on them. Heck, they might not even look like animatronics to some people. You'll see. Wait, what? Okay, so in the previous video, I kind of said, okay, we're probably going to be getting like a nightmare version of, you know, Rat and Cat, because I figured those would be the main characters, because, well, that's one of the reasons why you should watch the previous video. Judging off the teaser, it looks like Rat and Cat are going to be returning. I figured they're going to have like a nightmare version, like a new version of them, but it looks like there's going to be a brand new version, but he says right here that, but last, I must add, even the monsters are designed in a new way. They aren't just huge withered animatronics with big teeth and metal eyes with ridges on them. Heck, they might not even look like animatronics to some people. You'll see. What the heck? All right, so that sounds pretty cool. I mean, I guess he's going to go for like a more lifelike approach to them. That sounds really creepy and also really exciting, so I'm pretty hyped for that. He says, and this is the final game too, so after this you'll have all the important pieces of the story. I can't guarantee that everything will remain hidden for months, but at least you will know the story, I hope. And as for the details / visuals in Final Fantasy 3, I feel a lot more confident seeing as everything will take place in one scene. And since it's a child's bedroom, I know exactly what props to put in the scene, toys, furniture, posters, framed pictures, etc. Okay, so that also gave us a hint at where we're going to be, or not a hint, but it's exactly where this thing is going to be taking place at, in a bedroom, which I kind of figured too, because, well, you know, giving off some of the hints I said before, in a child bedroom too, which is also more interesting because of the fact that, as I said in the previous video, the ending of the Hidden Night, you know, if you click the forward star, you kind of get to see the child. She's terrified of the animatronics. She slowly moves towards one of them. She's crying. She sees a kid go up to it, and it ends with Rat just about to what appear to be attack the kid. So I'm guessing we're going to be playing as her, and we're going to figure out why she's so terrified of these things. Anyways, there's more to read. So he says, now I can imagine that some of you might be thinking, of course the final game is with Nightmare animatronics. How unoriginal. That's just how it was with Final Fantasy 4. What a cliche. What a way to copy other Final Fantasy fan game series. Haha, I know, right? If you hear me out, I can at least explain my reasons. I've been trying to keep a certain set of traditions in my fan games, like the fan I added in the first game. And it's not an easy thing to deal with in fan game development. Things can be traditions to one person and cliches to another. Christmas is such a cliche. It happens like every year. And he says joke at the end of that. I had Final Fantasy Mechanics 3 mechanics and story in mind right when I started to develop Final Fantasy Mechanics 2. I wanted to leave some of the story in the dark so I could have certain characters explained and leave certain others for a grand finale. Having the finale being about nightmares and animatronics is a really good way to end the series to me, because not only does it fit fantastically with the plot, but it also presents the chance for the scariest characters in the Final Fantasy series to become even more scarier. Okay, yeah, that's a definite sign we're going to be getting some sort of nightmare version of these animatronics. Oh my god, that sounds so cool. Anyways, and it withholds my ideas about Final Fantasy Candies being called a parallel to Final Fantasy Freddy's. When I began making the first Final Fantasy Candies, I had the opportunity to be fully original, but I chose not to because I was afraid that the game would steer too far away from the core Final Fantasy Freddy's elements, like other fan games to me appeared to do it. But also because I wanted to make a Final Fantasy Freddy's clone that would revolve around a revival to Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria. Yes, you heard it first, folks. Final Fantasy Candies was intentionally a carbon copy of Five Nights at Freddy's. Okay. I don't see anything wrong with that, honestly. I know it's easy to say that you could have been original, but I really think so, which is why I even dare to claim it. This will most likely be my last fan game too, but certainly not my last game. As I have said before, I have tons of ideas for games in a lot of other different genres. I will continue posting stuff about my future games on my Twitter and such, like I have been with fan games and my 3D renders. And I think the rest is just kind of explaining how, why, he made Final Fantasy Candies and what kind of went into it and how, things like that. So he said, just remember this plot for Final Fantasy Candies 3 has been released after Final Fantasy Candies. Okay. Okay, so he also talks about how he's changing the rules for his creations and stuff like that, and it'll apply after Final Fantasy Candies 3 has been released. So I think that's about it, though. He has a little TLDR here. He says, I want to give the scariest animatronics a chance to become even scarier, and I feel like it would make for a nice closure to finally reveal the backstory of the most eluded characters in the Final Fantasy Candies series. This game is not going to be forced out simply to put an end to the story. The mechanics aren't just scraping the very bottom of the barrel. I've had these ideas in my head right from when I started working on Final Fantasy Candies 2. Finally, I want to remind you that I just finished Final Fantasy Candies 2, and all I have finished for Final Fantasy Candies 3 so far is a lot of planning and a few models. I made this game page so early, mostly to have a central place to put teasers and message and announcements. So give it 2 to 3 months before Final Fantasy Candies 3 is finished. Thanks for reading. Okay, so that was a lot to read. Holy crap, we're already at 12 minutes, guys. But it was actually really cool because he gave us a lot of insight as to, where the game's going to be taking place and, how it's going to be taking place. So, I mean, to kind of go over things, it looks like we're going to be obviously getting a new version of Rat and Cat. That's speculation, but obviously we're going to be getting a new version of Rat. That's confirmed. A more lifelike version of Rat, which sounds kind of scary. We're going to be playing as a child. It's going to be nightmares from what he said. And yeah, so there's going to be like nightmare version of the animatronics. We're going to be playing as a child. It's going to be in one scene, so we're not going to be going around the house, nothing like that. He's taking gameplay mechanics from things such as Boogeyman, the other Final Fantasy Freddy's series, games, and stuff like that. And yeah, this is going to be the final game in the series. I mean, I don't know. It was a very informative, description that he put in, and I'm glad he kind of updated on these things because it does give us, like I said, a lot of insight into where this game's going to be taking place. And I'm pretty hyped for it, honestly. This game, it's got my attention. I mean, I already had my attention before this, but it's definitely got my attention now because I'm excited to see, the new animatronics, the storyline, how it ends and stuff like that. And if you guys are too, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel because I'm going to be covering this game as soon as it comes out in 2 to 3 months, like he said. And it's gonna be awesome. Anyways, though, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed this decently long video, drop a like on the video, and of course subscribe if you're new. And I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.